Hello and welcome from a busy roadside in the south of Spain. The road behind me is the most important arterial road along the Costa del Sol. It links all the cities, towns, villages and other settlements. In fact, without it, you can't go anywhere by car or bus. But it's also got a reputation, and it's not a good one, because it's one of Spain's roads of death. By and large, Spain has an excellent road network, but there's just one or two roads which, as in England, seem to pick up a reputation for being congested and dangerous. And this is particularly true of the road behind me.
The problem is that the N340 Coast Road was dualled decades ago as the area developed for tourism. Now it takes traffic much heavier than it was ever planned for, and in particular the slip roads are very short. Speed limits have been put on in many places, but accidents and queues are a frequent occurrence, particularly in peak season. It isn't helped by the road being made an autovía, a motorway, even though it falls well below standard compared to modern motorways. The road couldn't be improved significantly, so the solution was to build another. The trouble is that its bypass is a rather expensive autopista, a toll motorway, a great road, but out of the financial reach of the many regular commuters that want to use it, so it doesn't solve the congestion problem. Every time I travel on this road, it always reminds me of some words that Jesus spoke. Enter in by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many are those who enter in by it. How narrow is the gate, and restricted is the way that leads to life. Few are those who find it. Jesus brings our attention to the fact that in life we have a choice to go our own way, what he describes as the wide gate and the broad road, or we can go his way, which he describes as the narrow gate and the windy road. It's like reaching a crossroads, and you've got two ways to select, either one way or the other way, your own way or his way. The problem is that if you go your own way, Jesus said it's a broad road and it leads to destruction, whereas if you go his way, it's a narrow road and it leads to life. The only problem is that Jesus' road is a rather difficult one to travel, and not many people travel it, because the majority of people want to go their own way and want to go down the broad road. Why is that? Well, let's do a comparison. Driving along the N340, or as it is now the A7, might have its dangers, but it's largely straightforward, even easy. And have you tried manoeuvring through a wide gate recently? That's pretty easy too. In places like the Costa del Sol, life can be really quite easy, and people go there to enjoy themselves on their holidays. But what about the meaning of life, the universe and everything? Well, here's what Jesus said. Wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. Here's a much narrower road. You've got to be careful to travel along this particular road. There's bends, slopes, bumpy bits and other traffic. It's not easy to travel on it. Being a follower of Jesus is not the gateway to an easier life, but it is the way by which you can deal with all the issues of what the meaning of life actually is and what happens after death. Here's what Jesus said again about his way. How narrow is the gate, and restricted is the way that leads to life. Few are those who find it. I know some people who think that following Jesus is just a crutch to get you through life in some way or other. But actually Jesus never promised that life would be easy following him. Quite the reverse. Following Jesus challenges all our preconceptions, prejudices, fears and expectations of life. It's about living life a different way, God's way. The thing about a windy road is that although it's a challenge, it's a far more interesting place to be than on a wide, straight road. Following Jesus seems strange, different or daunting, but it's also exciting. And the good thing is about following Jesus is we know he's already been there, because he came to this world and he lived a life, but he also had the most horrendous death. But it was that death that actually opened up a way by which God could forgive people of the wrong things that they'd done, their sin, which kept them separate from him. And he now gives each person a choice to continue on their own way or follow Jesus.
Life is like a journey from birth to death and then eternity. We've got a choice of roads on which to travel. The question is, on which road are you travelling?